Most brands never make it. They launch with a cool idea, spend a bunch of money on ads, and then absolutely nothing. No traction, no real audience, no clue why things are not working. And I get it because I've been there. I said 18 months, but actually in the last 365 days, we took this brand to $2 million in revenue. And today I'm gonna give you the exact roadmap so that you can do it too. All right, so step one is finding the absolute right niche and understanding your customer. So most brands fail because they don't know who they're actually selling to. And when we first started the brand, we weren't just thinking, how do we make cool designs? Instead, we asked, who is this brand for? What do they actually care about? And why would they buy from us instead of someone else? And most brands think that they have this figured out until they actually have to describe their ideal customer. That is why we created the avatar documents. I'm gonna dive deeper into that because I think it's gonna help you guys a ton. What you will find out, and I'll give you the short and the long of it, is that please don't create a brand in a niche that you A, don't know, or B, you don't have a partner who knows, or 3, you do not enjoy. That will save you a ton of time. Starting a clothing brand is hard, whether it's a boutique, a private label, luxury. If you don't know the industry, you probably shouldn't start that brand. It's not impossible, it's a much more uphill battle. We created this document. There are 3 different documents that go along with this, and it is the #1 reason that this brand hit $2 million a year and why every single other brand who ever hits 7 figures that we work with, why they grow. So you have to look at it this way. Most people start with a problem. They do not do anything unless there is an actual problem, right? You don't go get Advil unless you have an actual headache. You do not go and move out of your house unless your family is like busting at the seams or you don't like the home. Like there's got to be an actual problem that you are solving. Some of you guys are like, nah, I want to buy a new house because I want to buy a new house. That's fine, whatever. There's some kind of problem. Maybe it's an ego problem. What is the problem that you are actually solving? And like I said, I'll go through this document here and we will share a screen and I'll walk you through on understanding and the questions that you need to go through. But I want you to see more so what is actually happening. So you have an actual problem, right? You have a struggling, what we call a struggling avatar. I'm gonna use a different color. You are the blue unicorn here. You are the unique solution. And this last one I just called the future pace hero, but I'm just calling it the future. So you go from red to blue to green, okay? So you go from the problem, and you are the solution. This is life afterwards. No problem, there cannot be a solution. Plain and simple. Very hard to make money just because. Okay, now if you got an amazing personal brand, you're Michael Jordan, sure, the problem is that these people don't have your shoes. Great, but for the majority of you guys, you need to actually figure out a problem. This breaks down, there's a lot of words here, what the introduction is. It breaks down a lot more in depth than what I'm gonna say here, mostly because that's the only thing this document does, and this video is not 3 hours long. You have to understand a couple of main things. What are your core values? What are your identities? Your experience, the knowledge, the knowing that you have. There's a difference between knowledge and knowing. You can get a bunch of knowledge by reading books and watching YouTube videos. I see it a lot. There's a lot of people who say what we say, and they're like regurgitating things. That's the knowledge piece. But the difference is the actual knowing. They don't know what they're actually saying. They don't actually know how to find an audience. They don't know how to actually grow a clothing brand or scale a brand. So you have to have the knowing. If you're a teacher and you created clothes for young kids and it's all education based, maybe it's a STEM shirt or maybe it's about the arts or whatever it may be, well, cool. If you are teaching in that, you do have the knowing piece. You know the actual problems. If you don't, it's gonna be very difficult. It's gonna be a disconnect here. So very hard to understand people's problems if you've never been there. I've never met a clothing brand who started a children's line who did not have kids. And if I did, I would tell them to go find something different, because if you don't have kids of your own or kids that you are watching or you've ever adopted or whomever, if you don't have those kids in your life, it doesn't matter how much you love kids. If you don't understand the complexities that go on with having a kid, you don't really know the actual problems. And then you get to the past struggles, right? So what are the struggles? What do the parents actually care about? So your ideal customer, if it's that children's line that you're going after and you're looking and you're like, my customer is the mom, maybe it's a single mom. Maybe it's a mom who makes good money, but she's a single mom, she's got 3 kids, and she just doesn't have a ton of time, but she does care about quality. Well, you may understand the past struggles that she doesn't have a ton of time, so you're gonna offer bundles, you're gonna offer something that's got certified or organic, and you're like, Well, what's GOTS or certified organic? What does that have to do with anything? If you know your ideal customer, you'll know the struggles that they've went through. You'll know that maybe they are looking for a high quality product but couldn't find it and don't have a ton of time to search. So you want to lay it all out there for them so they can buy for their 3 kids. Okay, completely different. It is much easier, and you will find this, that you are your avatar. That's why I say it. At the very beginning, your first $10, $20 million a year, which sounds crazy, I'm sure for most of you guys, maybe you're doing more than 20 million, but your first 10, 20 million, that is who your customer is. Expanding past that, going after to men and to women and to kids and to adults, big mistake. And then for this brand, what do? They went after one demographic, one audience that they went after. It was not bound by gender necessarily, but it was bound by a person who liked a very quirky or unique way to approach humor. So it is this customer. You couldn't make it up if you wanted to. I think a lot of people look at this brand, they think that they can just recreate it because it's silly, but they don't understand the intricacies that go into it. And so I'm gonna break that down for you. But this is the struggling avatar. Okay, you're gonna fill out this information here, and then it's gonna give you this unique solution, which is, how do you stand out, right? What is the uniqueness that you're offering to the marketplace? Because they had the struggles and the problems, what can you offer to the marketplace? Are you more readily available in a better spot or better location? Are you able to speak directly to them? Maybe their number one problem is that they don't have things that could grow with them. They have clothes now where it's like, okay, I bought something as a 3T and it can go to a 5T. Okay, maybe you offer that. Maybe a mom couldn't find a high quality organic outfit for their daughter, and they wanted something that was not that they were gonna pay a high quality or a high price for, but they're on a budget, so they weren't able to actually buy the product because they knew that they were gonna grow out them. They move so quickly, so they decided to do a grow with me. This brand, what they offered to the marketplace was completely unique, it was new. It's a fun take on humor, but doesn't require the use of profanity, if you will. So there's fun ways to do this, there's great ways to do this, but you don't have to always do profanity. So their unique solution was gonna have a French-inspired products, but they're gonna add humor to it and then bring it only to a US market. Did well. And because they knew their audience, right, and they could talk through this, and they have this, at this point I grabbed a smiling guy, so future pace hero, their customer was much happier. In the example for the kids, it's well, the mom is much happier because they save money, they have a good quality product, saves them a ton of time, etc. But for this brand, what they did was they added humor and laughter and gave a nostalgic feel to this older, I would say their audience is really kind of a older Gen Z to millennial to very young Gen X. And so you're talking 27 to 40, a very small age group who just love humor, that don't want the racy options and just want to bring laughter and joy to people's lives. And because of that, they go through this future pace hero. They could label it. You could put this as a mission. If you have something big enough, you're I want to label this, I want to put a mission, I want to put a label to this problem, that is an option as well. But the number one reason, if you get no longer or no farther into this video, they actually know who their audience is. They know their age, the interest, their buying behavior, what other brands they have already loved, the exact messaging and style that would resonate with them. Once we locked in our niche and messaging, everything else got better, easier. Ads performed better. Organic content started to convert people into actual customers, and people actually connected with the brand and felt like there was an actual personality with it. If you're struggling to make the sales, it's probably not your product. It is likely your positioning with that is probably the messaging that goes along with this. And if you want this document or kind of all 3 of these documents, just comment the word avatar down below. I will send it over to you. You can fill this out for yourself and finally understand who your audience is. All right, I wanted to say a quick hey, howdy, and hello. I'm Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bet Branding, and we specialize only in the fashion industry for clothing brands just like you. We've served over 300 clothing brands in the last 12 months alone. Hey, and I would appreciate it if you give us a nice little like and subscribe. We drop new content for you every single week, at least 2 videos. And if you do this in the next 3 seconds, I'll share with you the most popular song in the year 2000. That is Faith Hill. Faith Hill. Very popular song. I didn't listen to Faith Hill a lot, but I did know that song. All right, so step 2 is called the clothing offer equation. This is specific to us, and it is something that we have employed or deployed from every single brand. Hopefully that is part of our program. They're deploying it and they're using it. But you have to make an offer that people actually want, but there needed to be objective data behind it. So shout out to Alex Ramosi. He created something called the offer equation, which is more so for service-based businesses and not really for direct-to-consumer or e-commerce or specifically apparel. So I'm gonna pull up this document here and I will walk you guys through it, and it is a very simple formula. If something isn't working in your business, it is because of this formula, and this is what we've been perfecting, if you will. And I don't think there's ever a perfection if you get to that point, but getting better and better for every single brand. Honestly, most brands just say like, here's a hoodie, buy it. But that doesn't work, right? Nobody does that. People don't buy products, they buy what those products represent, and they buy from personalities and people. So what is the clothing offer equation? So the clothing offer equation, COE for short, the S stands for style, aspirations, QF is for quality and fit, and I'll break down each of these here in a second. This is shopping friction, and the last one here is price sensitivity. The goal is to make this number higher and this number much lower. So over here on the screen, let's go ahead and look at this. So what each variable means and stands for, right? This is the dream outcome. So style aspirations, what's that dream outcome or look for the identity of the customer to hope to them achieve by wearing the brand. That's simple. Quality and fit, does it have good material? Or like, how can you make this like look like a high quality shirt, or how can you make sure that this material is something that's more durable? Waiting time, we got 2 brands that we are doing some UGC content for right now, and shipping time has been atrocious. We ordered, honestly, like 2.5 weeks ago and still haven't received the product. Had I known that, I mean, we're still doing it. We're doing it as a gesture, and we're gonna help give them some content, and we're doing some stuff actually for our program members. We're showing them how to create content, and then we're voicing over and then showing them how to create it themselves and creating templates. Outside of that, the main thing is that like this waiting time, had we known it and we were actual customers, I would have just returned it or canceled it. I'm waiting from a product that I ordered in January, and I messaged these people and it's still in shipping. It was $30, so I'm just like, it's more of a hassle to cancel than anything else, but that I won't buy from them again. Shopping friction. Okay, so this is any hassles during the buying process. So site speed, checkout complexity, unclear return policies. If you don't know what your return policy is, or it absolutely stinks, you're like no returns, for clothing, problem, you're going to lose a huge opportunity for people who would buy from you. And then you have price sensitivity. So price sensitivity is, what is the price cumulative to the value that you're actually adding? And so if there's a huge discrepancy, people just won't buy. This number up here isn't huge and these numbers aren't low, then this price sensitivity is gonna play a huge factor and could weigh the whole equation down to where you potentially would not be able to get a purchase. Now, a great offer isn't just the product, it is the product, it's the messaging, and it's the perceived value. For example, of saying, cool hoodie, buy now, we structure something like, finally, a hoodie that actually stands out, that is bold, it's colorful, and guaranteed to turn heads. Even then, that's like it's better. Could it be even greater? It's like, this is the one hoodie. I would do it as like, do you have anxiety? Do you have an issue with trust? This is the one hoodie that it's a weighted hoodie that will help you sleep well at night, sleep in this hoodie, feel the weight of this like a weighted blanket, and it'll actually lower your stress. You gotta watch out for your claims or whatever. But like, I would go around that piece of it, right? The more of the identity piece. One of these just describes the product, the other sells an actual experience. And this approach honestly changed everything. Our conversion rates increased, our ads became more effective, and customers resonated with the brand on a much deeper level. So I wanna break down this clothing offer equation, but I also just wanna show you as well, like, conversion rate 2.2%, average order value about $53-ish. I'd love the average order value to be higher. I'm gonna tell you some flaws from this as well. The conversion rate, I want it to be between 1.5% and 3%. And what could we have done better? I'll just call it out right now. Return to customer rate, right? We're acquiring a ton of new customers. Most people are not coming back because email and SMS needs some absolute love, but not the point of this video here. Could we turn this into 3.5, 4 million this year? Definitely, and that's the goal. Let's go over here, and I want to break down a little bit more of the clothing offer equation before we move on. So All right, so the clothing offer equation helps you break down why someone would or would not buy from your clothing brand. And is it work? Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of work, but to get to 7 figures, right? Only 7% of brands across all industry ever get to 7 figures, let alone probably like 50, I think it's like 50% of clothing brands are out of business in 90 days. So is this work? Yes, but it is the right work that needs to be done. This whole document honestly breaks down our exact framework. I break down examples of what it needs to do, what you need to switch in each one of the areas. So whether it's you need to increase this number, or this area, or decrease these, I have examples of what you actually need to do. And then I have the breakdown here of like what your scoring system is. So there's objective data behind it, like on a 1 to 3 scale, a 4 to 6 scale, is it 7 to 10, where are you at? So you can accurately rate yourself, not just say, my designs are so cool and I have no clue why nobody's buying from me. This will help you objectively see what's going on with the brand. If you want this clothing offer equation, comment the word clothing down below this video and I'll send you a link to this document so you can use it and implement it into your video. And then I have a document down here that is a sheet, it's not a document, it is a sheet where you can make a copy of this and it will break down your actual scoreboard. You'll put in the numbers and you can see whether or not it is green or yellow or red, and you can actually see where you should spend most of your time. You can go back to here and say, great, my numbers are lower in the SF section. This is what I should work on, and that's how you should improve. And you have an actual roadmap for what you can actually be doing every single week. Hey, if you're a clothing brand owner, boutique, streetwear, private label, and you want to jump into the specifics of your brand and find out why it's not scaling at the rate that you should be scaling, you can go ahead and schedule a free strategy call with us by checking out the link in the description down below. There are limited spots, so make sure you go do that right now. We'll see you on the other side. All right, so step 3 here is Facebook ads. What worked and what didn't? So most brands run Facebook ads like a slot machine, throwing money and hoping something works, please. We did it too at first. Here's what actually worked for us. Okay. Testing 3 to 5 creatives every single week, every single Monday. If an ad flopped, we killed it fast, and then if it performed, we scaled it up. We test ads for at least 3 to 5 days, but typically it's like we launch and scale ads on a Monday, and so if it's not absolutely tanking it, we will let it run for a day or so longer and then kill it. That's just for us. You can do it a little bit differently, but every single Monday we launch 3 to 5 new pieces of creative. The messaging that matters, so instead of just saying cool hoodies, we focus on why people should care. For example, finally a hoodie that actually stands out, and we tested smart budgets. So instead of blowing $1,000 on random ads, we started very small, $30, $40, $50 a day, and scaled up by 5% every single day. So I've talked about this in previous videos. It's very simple, right? So we scale by 5% daily. And what do? We look at 3 days in the rear. And what I mean by that is, let's say we're gonna scale on a Wednesday, we're gonna look at Tuesday and Monday and Sunday. And if they are all above our break even or our cost to acquire a customer, let's say we have, again, 70% margins. That is a 1.42 ROAS. And anything above a 1.42 ROAS, let's say, ideally we're getting closer to a 2. If we're at a 2 on ROAS, we're gonna scale every single day. And if we scaled on the Thursday, then we'll look at Wednesday and Tuesday and Monday. And then if we're above on those 3 days cumulatively, above a 1.42, then we will scale up by 5%. So scaling at 5%, much better. You will get to a very large number very quickly. Some people suggest to do 20 to 30% every 2 to 3 days. I don't suggest that route. I really do like the 5%. It's tried and true. It's kind of like dollar cost averaging when you're investing in the stock market. It's like every day I invest $50 into the stock market every single day, no matter what, if it's up, down, sideways, and it tends to do the best. Now, Facebook ads weren't always smooth sailing. There were times that ads were printing money and suddenly stopped working. Costs spiked overnight, literally for no reason, or because of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Entire ad account got restricted because of some of the products we had. But the key here is consistency. We kept launching new creative. We kept testing new angles and doubling down on that and what worked. But we used this 4-play board. We're always saving new content in here, so coming up with new concepts, new ideas, new angles that we're going after. It's just a list of all different types of videos and creatives, whether it's UGC, which is like a user-generated content, whether it is like us versus them, so us as the brand versus another big brand and like what makes them better, how-to content. We've tested that where like we're teaching inside of an ad, and because our product is the solution, it led everything back to an actual ad. If you want this board of all the different types of creative that we save, which are at this point thousands of different examples, you can comment the word 4play down below and I'll send it over to you as well. All right, so number 4, step 4 if you will, is switching from print on demand to a 3PL, which is a third-party logistics company. One of the biggest scaling challenges we face were manufacturing and fulfillment. In the beginning stages, we did print on demand, which meant there were super long wait times. It's great because we were testing ideas, but as soon as we started to scale, it became a problem. Longer shipping times, customers were waiting weeks. That's an issue. Inconsistent quality. Some batches looked amazing, others not so much. Low margins. You're not working 70% margins print on demand. If you are, that's crazy. But low margins were cutting into our actual profits big time. And so once we validated the demand, we moved to a third-party logistics company, and they gave us faster shipping. Customers got their orders in days, not weeks. Better quality control, no more surprises with the print, and somebody who took care of us. And we also had higher profit margins because bulk ordering allowed us to cut costs and increase profitability. Honestly, this is the biggest game changer for probably any business as you start to build this thing. If you're serious about your brand, print on demand is a great starting point, but long term, you'll need a better control over the actual fulfillment. And if you're looking for a great 3PL or just somebody to talk through as you're thinking through this, I would absolutely check out Threadbird. There's a link for them in the description down below. Highly suggest them. I'm gonna go over to somebody named Nick. Super cool guy, shout out to him. He's also got a brand called Palmer, Palmr. Helps kids and families with type 1 diabetes. All right, step 5 is content and community building. So most brands rely only on ads to sell. Huge mistake. We made that before. Here's how we make organic content work for this brand. Instagram and TikTok were consistent. When Instagram was down, TikTok was up. Ironically, we never had both of them up at the same time. Those allowed us as I would say, testing period or a sandbox to create content, test out our messaging that actually resonated and saying like, new drop available. We jumped on trends and built a community around that. And then we used those pieces of content that did well organically and put them into ads. No surprise there that they did well in ads because they did well organically. We also did really well with community engagement. We responded to every single DM, every comment, and we made sure our audience felt heard. So try to show behind the scenes. We also try to help them pick between different designs. And this made it much easier for our ads to convert because instead of running ads to completely cold traffic, which Meta will do, especially as you're starting out. But once you have a community organically, Meta knows who those people are. I don't know how, and it wasn't running completely cold traffic. So we were running them to people who had already seen us before because of the organic side of things. At the end of the day, what it really comes down to is if you know your audience and you solve a problem and you are consistent and you do these things, you will have success. I don't know when because I can't predict, but I will say in a long enough time horizon, you will have success. For this brand, it just happens to be 18 months that we had to do that, and then we did do that. For example, today we've already made, it's 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, we've already made $1,500. This can be you. It is not very far away. There's no crazy business skills involved. There was not a huge amount of capital that was needed. You can do this too. All right, so now that you know what it takes to build a 7-figure business, go watch this video on exactly how to grow your brand using Instagram ads right here next. All right, y'all, we'll see you next time. And P.S., make sure you subscribe.